Hello everybody and welcome back to another video on the channel. As you can tell by the title, we're going to be talking about this lot again.
Forget it. I don't want to do this.
We're going to be giving my honest thoughts going in to the 2022-23 season, which of course kicks off tomorrow against Accrington Stanley.
Let's go!
Now, I think the general feeling amongst Charlton fans going into the season is we really need to challenge this year, and I completely agree with it. You know, we really do need to stamp our authority this season, and we also need to be competitive and we need to challenge. You know, obviously Sangard has come out with more of the same as what he said last season. You know, he's got big aspirations, he's got big aims. You know, he said at the start of I think the end of the last season actually, he said he wanted to aim for top 2 this season, which again is another ambitious target, one that he has said multiple times, and unfortunately through his ambitious targets he has failed to deliver on all of them. In my previous video, in my League One predictions, I predicted us to finish in 9th place, obviously outside the top 6, which there's no denying it would be a disappointing finish if we was to finish there, because obviously us Charlton fans, I think it's only right that we're allowed to have, you know, high aspirations for this club, because after all, we are one of the bigger clubs in this league and we should really be doing a lot better than what last season suggested, and probably a lot better than what the 9th place finish that I've predicted us to finish. We are a bit off when it comes to the other teams above us in the league. I think we are, well, I hope we're going to be competitive this season under Ben Garner. Obviously, it's a new system, it's a new style of play, it's a new philosophy, and it has impressed me and excited me. I've been really impressed by what I've seen so far in pre-season, and I'm really excited to see what this new system is going to be and what it's going to perform like at League One level. But I also like to think that I am a realist, and I do believe that compared to the other sides in the league, they are stronger. And to be fair, from watching other people's prediction videos, I have seen that the general positioning where people have put Charlton is from 9th to 13th, so in between those sorts of positions, which I think, to be fair, is fair enough. I mean, obviously I think would be an easy choice to slap in mid-table, to be honest with you, based off last season. And yeah, I can understand people's reasoning. I've obviously put us in the highest position of that category. I don't think I've ever seen someone put us higher than 9th. I do want this philosophy to work, and I think if it does come off, we could be a underdog. We could be a dangerous side coming into this season. I mean, we are coming into this season as a massive underdog already. I think we were like, what, 22-1 to win the league. And in terms of our transfer window so far, of course, as you know, we have signed 6 players in the transfer window so far. Owen O'Connell, Mandela Egbo, Joe Walcott, Conor McGrandles, Stephen Sessegnon and Jack Payne. Now, I think the biggest thing people have said about our transfer window so far is, of course, we haven't spent any money. We've signed 5 players on a free and 1 player on loan for the season, that of course being Stephen Sessegnon. Now, to be honest with you, I don't have anything against that, because I think in terms of the players that we have signed, it does show that we don't have to spend money. You know, we don't have to just fork out loads of money. And to be honest with you, I could guarantee you, any of the players that we've signed, I think especially Conor McGrandles and Jack Payne, if we'd have paid a fee for these players, I don't think people would really have complained. It's the fact that, or it's the stigma surrounding free agents, like, oh, we've got him on a free, it must mean he's bad. I don't understand that at all. First signing was Owen O'Connell. He obviously left Rochdale last season after a very disappointing season at League 2 level, but according to Rochdale fans, he was by far and away their best player last season. Obviously their captain, ball playing defender, something that we lacked last season. Obviously we saw defenders try and do that last year, the likes of Akin Famwo and Ryan Innes. I think in particular they tried doing it on many occasions. I think Famwo did it all right on a few occasions, particularly under Nigel Adkins, but he on the whole was not very good. And obviously the time Ryan Innes tried to do it, we all know how that went. I do like the of O'Connell so far. I think he does look a decent addition to the side. And of course, if you saw yesterday, he has been given the vice captaincy behind Jayden Stockley, which I thought was quite controversial, by the way. Stockley getting the captain's armband. Would have thought Sam Lavelle would have got that. But anyway, O'Connell has been given the vice captaincy for the season, which makes a lot of sense. Obviously, was Rochdale's captain, and yeah, I've been very impressed with him so far going into the season. The second signing followed suit after that. That of course being Swindon Town right back Mandela Egbo. Now this one made a lot of sense. Obviously, Garner has worked with Egbo at Swindon last season, and he also worked with him in his Palace days when Egbo was a Palace youngster. Now, of course, as we all know, Mandela Egbo is currently out injured. He sustained, I think, a knee injury against Dartford. I think it was in a pre-season friendly. He come off the pitch with a brace around his knee. Garner did say that he's going to be out for weeks opposed to months. It's a shame that Egbo's obviously come into the club and he's received an injury. He's a fullback who likes to push forward. You know, he likes to get a ball in the box. You know, last season our fullbacks just completely struggled to cross the ball in the penalty area. I mean, to be fair, they weren't even fullbacks, they were wingers playing wing-backs. Signing number 3, that of course being Joe Walcott. Now, if you have seen the kit numbers for this season, Joe Walcott has been given the number 1. It makes a lot of sense, to be honest. Obviously, Garner worked with Walcott last season, and of course, Joe did win the goalkeeper of the season in the PFA Team of the Year in League 2 last year. I think there is a bit of excitement surrounding Walcott right now, especially based off his previous performance in our final pre-season friendly against Swansea City. He pulled off some really good saves. I didn't watch the game, but I have seen some highlights of some of the saves he pulled off, which looked absolutely ridiculous. So to me, it makes a lot of sense that Walcott has come in as number 1, and to be honest with you, I would have him as number 1 over Craig McGill of right. Conor McGrandles, I think, is one of the best signings we pulled off in the summer, probably the best signing. Maybe Jack Payne could rival that, but I think McGrandles is a really good pickup. Bristol City were linked with him as well, but we managed to snap him up, beat Bristol City to his signature. So beating a championship side to McGrandles' signature on a free transfer, and the calibre of player that he is, I think is an excellent signing. Obviously, McGrandles is, I think, typically more of a DM, more of a defensive midfielder, if you will. He likes to, play out from deep, a deep line playmaker who likes to obviously push forward. And his passing ability last season, and not just last season, but the season before that, when he helped Lincoln to a playoff final against Blackpool, his passing ability was absolutely fantastic, and he was one of Lincoln's more standout players. Our only loan so far of the transfer window, but I guarantee it won't be our last, was of course Fulham right back Steven Sessegnon. Now, there is a lot of excitement surrounding him as well. I think he's going to have quite a big year this year. Now, obviously, in pre-season, he has been played in the left-back position. We obviously naturally is a right-sided full-back, right-back naturally, but he is quite versatile in that he can play on either side of the full-backs. He can also play in the centre as a centre-half if we need him to. There's a lot of excitement surrounding Sessegnon. I think the link-up play between him and Corey Blackett-Taylor in pre-season has been very, very exciting. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Sessegnon can do. I've no doubt he'll be playing the first game of the season at left-back, but I suspect that he will be played in a variety of positions. He previously spent last season, the second half of last season, should I say, with Plymouth Argyle, and Plymouth fans had a lot of good things to say about him. They said he was a very good attacking wing-back. They said predominantly he is better in a back 5, but obviously we're going to be playing a back 4 this season, and apparently people have been saying he's been really good. His 6th and final signing so far of the transfer window is Swindon Town goalscorer Jack Payne. Jack Payne is the goal-scoring midfielder that we lacked last season. I mean, if you take a look at our stats from last season, our top goal scorer from midfield was Elliot Lee with 3 goals. The thing with all the Swindon signings, people have been making memes about us being Swindon athletic, but they have been the better players at Swindon last season. And if you actually take a deeper dive into Jack Payne's history, you'll know that he actually played the majority of his career at this level, and he also helped Huddersfield to promotion to the Premier League in 2016-17. So Payne is a well-established goal-scoring League 1 midfielder, and obviously has come off the back of a ridiculous season at League 2 level. So I think he's going to add a lot to a midfield that was really lacking last season. So yeah, overall, our transfer business, obviously, yes, we've signed 3s and we've signed 1 loan, but I've got nothing against that, because I think all of the signings that we have made, they make sense, they fit the system, and for free transfers, if anything, I think they're absolute steals. Yes, obviously, I would like us to spend money in the transfer window. I think everybody would like us to do that. I think we would like us to show a bit of ambition, make a signing, make a statement. Chris Gunter, Ben Watson, Pape Soiree, Jason Pearce, Connor Washington, Adam Matthews, Stephen Henderson, Akin Franwo, Niall John, Elliot Lee, Jonathan Lecco, Juan Castillo, and Mason Burstow all left upon the expiration of their contracts and also the expiry of their loans from last season. We won't talk about any more of them, but as you can see, we have lost a sheer amount of players. I think that's 14 players that we lost right there and then. The players that we've lost since the transfer window has been opened is, of course, Ben Purrington and Josh Davison. Now, Purrington, I think he was offered a contract, so we were in contract negotiations, but then we decided to not offer him a new deal, and he's now ended up at Ross County. Now, that one is quite the surprise, to be honest with you. I did expect Purrington to stay because he is a attacking fullback and he does fit the system that Garner wants to play, but I guess for whatever reason Garner just didn't like him. There is no doubt now that we do need to replace him, and the most recent departure was of course Josh Davison, and there has been a bit of talk surrounding him on social media as well. People were a little bit confused as to why we gave him a contract, and the simple answer to that is we gave him a contract so we could sell him on for a fee, which is exactly what we did. We sold him to AFC Wimbledon, Johnny Jackson taking him off our hands, which makes me love him even more, because I'm going to be honest with you, I wasn't confident going into the season with Davison as one of our options up front, because while you can't knock his work ethic, I've said it so many times in previous videos, while you cannot knock his work ethic, it gives 110% every time he put on our Charlton shirt. The thing that he lacks is what he's paid to do, score goals. And unfortunately, I was not convinced he could do that at League 1 level. I think he can do that at League 2 level, and he's done very well at Forest Green and Swindon respectively in his previous 2 stints at League 2 level. So all I want him to do now is just head down to League 2, get goals and make a name for himself there. So taking a look at our team going into the first game of the season against Accrington Stanley tomorrow, I thought I'll go position by position, and I'm basing this off of the kit numbers. So the players that have been given kit numbers, squad numbers for this season, I've taken those players into account. I think that the formation that Garner is going to play this season will be 4-3-3. Goalkeepers, obviously we've got Joe Walcott, who we signed in the summer, Craig McGillivray and Nathan Harness. Craig McGillivray has been demoted to the number 13 and second choice. Now, if you've seen Craig McGillivray's Twitter account, especially if you take a look at some of his liked tweets, it suggests that McGillivray is not happy with being number 2, which naturally, why would you be? Obviously, on paper, McGillivray is supposed to be one of the best goalkeepers in this league, if not the best goalkeeper in the league. And naturally, he's going to want to be starting in between the sticks for us this season. And it's also hinted through his liked tweets that he is going to be submitting a transfer request. Obviously, there has been rumours suggesting that, I was reported by the South London Press actually, that we were going to listen to offers from McGillivray, which to be honest with you, I wasn't opposed to, because I think while people have been throwing statistics left, right and centre, you know, people have been going from one extreme to the other with McGillivray really. Some people were saying that he was excellent last season and some people were saying he was absolutely dross, when the reality is, I don't think he was either of those. I don't think he was excellent, but I also don't think he was as bad as people make him out to be. There's no denying that he is a very good shot stopper, and I do stand by that. He is one of the best shot stoppers in this league, but the rest of his game is shocking. Let's be honest, it is shocking. You know, his distribution's poor, he can't command his box to save his life, and he cost us a lot of goals because of that last season. Now, people have been throwing statistics left, right and centre saying, oh, we got 16 clean sheets last season, you know, it's one of the highest in the league, you know, he's really good shot stopper, you know, he's kept us in many games last season. The reality is, stats don't matter to me at all. I mean, if you want to bring stats into it, McGillivray kept the same amount of clean sheets as Ben Amos did the season before. It seems like he's given up already and he just wants to jump ship. Now, I've said it many times in previous videos over the years, if a player doesn't want to be at this club and they don't want to play for us and they don't want to fight for their spot in the team, then quite frankly, they can go. To be honest with you, I think McGillivray has got exactly what he needed this season and something that he lacked last year. Competition, because last year, no disrespect to these players, but he had Stephen Henderson and Nathan Harness as competition last year. Obviously, Harness is still here as third choice goalkeeper, but to me, Harness isn't ready to make the step up to League One football just yet, and Henderson was, although I loved him at his time in his previous stint, let's face it, he's a has-been now. Left back for me is one of the weakest positions we've got at the club so far. The players that I've labelled as players that could play at left back is Steven Sessegnon and of course our youth academy player Lucas Ness, who has been involved in the team in pre-season and has been given the number 34 ahead of this season. Now, we don't have a natural left-back at the club right now. Obviously, Ness is a natural left-back, I do believe, but you know, he can obviously play right-back as well. But for me, Ness isn't ready. I don't think he's ready for the step-up just yet. Sessegnon, I think, will be our starting left-back going into the season, but of course, he is naturally a right-back, and I do think we need to strengthen a bit more in the left-back position, which I'll go back to what I said about Ben Purrington. I would have thought Purrington would have stayed, and at the moment, we haven't replaced it. Moving on to the other side, in the right back position, we've got 3 players who can play that position, which is Sessegnon again. As I said, he is naturally a right back. And then I have Sean Clare and Mandela Egbo. Now, of course, Egbo's injured, and Sean Clare, based off pre-season, I think it looks like he'll be playing right back for us this season, which I've got nothing against. I think he can play that position quite well. I think he played that position a couple of times at Oxford United under Carl Robinson. So yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. I think right back we're perfectly fine. I also think we're all right in the centre-back department as well. Obviously, we don't have a left-sided centre-back at the moment, which I guess is the only weakness. But looking at the centre-back options we've got right now, based off of the kit numbers, we've got Owen O'Connell, Sam Lavelle, Ryan Innes and Deji Eleraway. Now, of course, Eleraway has been given the number 27 ahead of the season instead of his number 50 last year, which hints to him having a role in the team this season, a lot more than the previous year, which I've got nothing against because I said it in previous videos. I think Eleraway is ready to make the step up. I think Garner does see that. In terms of the senior options, obviously O'Connell, we spoke about him already. I think he's going to be a big asset to the team in the defensive line, a ball-playing defender. Sam Lavelle, who I would have thought would have been our captain, but of course Jayden Stockley has been given that armband now. Last season endured quite a torrid season. Obviously, I think suffered a knee injury against Sunderland and then dislocated his shoulder against Wimbledon. But for me, it may be a bit controversial, but I think Lavelle was our best performing defender last season, and I think there's a big season ahead for him as well. I think he's going to be a very decent defender for us this season. And of course, Ryan Innes, I think he's probably the most replaceable defender we've got on his day. He is a very good defender at this level, but unfortunately we just haven't seen that because he is just a shard of glass. He's always injured, and of course the way he ended last season, I think, was, to be honest with you, disgraceful. I think he just showed that he didn't really want to be here and his heart wasn't in the game anymore, and I was quite surprised that we offered him a new contract. But yeah, I think Innis is probably the most replaceable defender, and like I said, we don't have a left-sided centre-back. We haven't got a left-footed centre-back at all, so it could be an area to strengthen. The most stacked area of our team so far is the midfield. Scott Fraser, Jake Forster-Caskey, Conor McGrandle's new signing, Alex Gilbey, Albie Morgan, George Dobson, Jack Payne, another new signing, and Aaron Henry from the Youth Academy. Now, obviously, we spoke about McGrandles and Payne already. I think they're both going to add something. McGrandles in a bit of a deeper position, but can also push forward. And like I said, his passing range is fantastic. And Payne is the goal-scoring midfielder that we do need. Going into the rest of the senior players, George Dobson, obviously last year's Player of the Year. I think he's going to be, again, I think he's going to be a solid asset to the team, and hopefully he can keep up the form that he had last year. Scott Fraser, I think it's a big year for him this year. Obviously, he had a very underwhelming last season, not just at us, but also at Ipswich. Obviously, he was the League One Kevin De Bruyne at MK Dons. Has an asthmatic problem as well, which you've got to take into account, and he obviously picked up a slight knock at the end of last season. But truth be told, in the games Fraser did play, yes, there were circumstances to take into account with Fraser, but he was very underwhelming, and he didn't really strike me as a player that, you know, was worth the price tag that we paid. So this season is a big year for Fraser, and I think he needs to step up and he needs to make this league his own again, because there's no doubt on his day, when he is performing, he is one of the best midfielders in this league, and I do stand by that. And I think under Ben Garner's system, if he can get the best out of him, I think he's going to be a nuisance for everybody in terms of goal scoring and also providing goals. I think he's going to be that midfield dynamo and big competition for Jack Payne as well. So he's got pressure on his shoulders, unless we decide to play both of them at the same time, in which case I think we've got a really deadly goal-scoring duo if Fraser can have a good season. Jake Forster-Caskey obviously missed last season completely through injury, and of course, as we know, the South London Press did report that we are looking to listen for offers. Now, it makes sense with McGrandles and Payne coming in for us to let go of a midfielder, and at the moment, the most likely player to leave in that position is Forster-Caskey. Now, it would be a shame. I do understand the decision, because ultimately he is injury prone, and there is a part of me that thinks that we should probably move on from Jake now and let him, you know, adapt somewhere else and try and get more regular minutes, because by the sounds of it, he isn't going to get many minutes under Garner this season. Gilbey, to be honest with you, I think he's been really underwhelming in the 2 years that he's been here. Certainly not the player that we thought we'd got from MK Dons. No, that player that won 2 Player of the Year awards in a row. Ultimately, we just haven't seen it. Obviously, he has struggled with injury. I know that. I have been impressed with him in pre-season. I think he has had a very good pre-season. But yeah, I think it is make or break for Gilbey this season. It is really make or break. And the same can be said for Albie Morgan, because he has kept the number 10 this season. And obviously, a lot of people are getting on his back again. And a lot of people are showing a lot of support for him this season. For me, it's make or break, because I do like Morgan. I do like him. I just think that last season, he just really underperformed. Yes, obviously there was a lot of pressure on his shoulders, given the number 10, but his set pieces were shocking. And I know people are going to say, oh, we got the most amount of assists last season with 7. Stats don't mean anything. He was one of the worst performing midfielders in the team overall under Nigel Adkins, and was still very underwhelming when he got minutes under Johnny Jackson. But again, like Gilbey, he has had a decent pre-season, so he will be one to watch this season if Garner is to give him a shot. But like I said, with him having the number 10 and the pressure on his shoulders, he has to deliver this season. This is make or break for Morgan this year. And the 8th and final option in midfield is Aaron Henry. Of course, he's been given the number 32 this year, which makes sense, because I don't think he's going to be playing much this year. I don't think he's quite ready for the step up. Would like him to get some minutes this season, but yeah, I don't think he's going to be competing with the other 7 names that I've just named in front of him. It's the attack. Now, starting off with the wingers. In the left wing position, we obviously have Corey Blackett-Taylor, Charlie Kirk, and, based off of kit numbers, Charles Claydon. Now, Claydon, I don't think he's going to get games compared to the other 2. And like Aaron Henry in midfield, I would fully expect him to be loaned out come the end of the window or play regularly in the under-23s. Corey Blackett-Taylor, for me, is going to have a big year this season. I don't think I saw a defender last season take him off the ball when he got the ball on the left or the right-hand side and he just bombed it down that side. I didn't see any defender last season take the ball off him. And I think in his natural position, he's going to have a big year. Yes, in terms of goal contributions, obviously 2 goals, 2 assists last season. It's not brilliant. However, he wasn't playing his natural position. He was playing as a wing-back. In his natural position, I think Blackett-Taylor is going to be one of the more dangerous wingers in the league this season. I do genuinely believe that, because his pace is frightening. You know, he likes to cut inside, he likes to take players on, he likes to swing a ball in the box. And I do also hope the same for Charlie Kirk. Now, Kirk falls in the same category for me as Scott Fraser. He had a very underwhelming season last year, came in for £500,000. Obviously, was loaned out to Blackpool in the second half of the season where, if you're looking at the stats, he did fairly well. 3 assists in 9 games is pretty decent, and he established himself in Neil Critchley's side. There's no doubt he is a good player at this level, and I think in his natural position, which is the left side of a front three, which is the system that Garner's going to play this season, he will come good for us. But he falls in the same category as Fraser. He has to deliver this season. I think there's a lot of pressure on his shoulders to perform, and of course he has got Blackett-Taylor as competition on that side, although Blackett-Taylor could also play on the right-hand side if need be. But of course the other natural right-hand sided winger that we have, and the only one, should I say, is Dearlang Jaisimi. Now, obviously, Jaisimi has been underwhelming. I'm absolutely stunned that he's kept the number 7 going into this season, because he has really been underwhelming. Really has been underwhelming since being at the club. He's been, well, borderline average, to be honest with you, since coming to the club. So hopefully under Garner, he can get the best out of him. But at the moment, I'm not massively convinced. But probably the most important area going into this season in this team is, of course, the striker department. And we do look really weak in that area. We currently have Jayden Stockley, who is our team captain, Chucks Aneke, who is currently injured and is missing the first game of the season against Accrington, and young prodigy Miles Leaburn. Now, Leaburn, there is question marks as to whether he is ready. Now, I've got nothing against us integrating him into the squad. However, looking at that strike options that I've just named right there, Stockley, Aneke and Leaburn, it's not enough for me. It is nowhere near enough. We're lacking goals in this side, and we really do need to find a goal scorer that is nimble, light, that is fast, because realistically, we haven't replaced Washington from last season. That's 11 goals from our side, realistically, that is gone. And Stockley, while he was our top goal scorer last season, I do have question marks as to whether this system works and whether he is a Garner player, because obviously, I think predominantly Stockley is a player that likes to obviously head the ball on, and obviously he can score goals with his head, and he does score goals with his feet, but mostly last season they were just tap-ins. And with the system that we want to play, is Stockley really someone that can fit the bill? Obviously, if the wingers can cross the ball into the box room and he can head them in, then obviously that's brilliant. And I do like Stockley. I do like him. I think he does get scolded by the fan base quite unfairly because he is a goal scorer at this level. But like I said, I do have my concerns going into the season in terms of whether he is a Garner player and whether this system will suit him. And the same with Chucks Aneke, really. I think he is more mobile compared to Stockley. However, injuries, you know what I was going to say, injuries and fitness, because he's already injured going into the season, which is just absolutely typical. He is a threat, you know, defenders absolutely hate playing against him at this level. Now, I'm not an idiot, you know, we do need another striking option, which is exactly why, to be honest with you, I predicted us to finish outside the top 6. We desperately need another option up front. We need another option out wide. We need a natural left back, and we could potentially do with some other options. You know, I guess we could move on some midfielders and we could bring in another option. Like I said, we haven't got a left-sided centre-back at the moment, and as I said, Ryan Innes I think is the more sellable asset in terms of the 4 that we've got. Fingers crossed we can start strong, obviously tomorrow against Accrington Stanley. I'm going to be watching with keen interest. It's going to be a very interesting game. In terms of my predicted starting 11, I will chuck that on the screen right now. Joe Walcott's basically been confirmed. He's going to be starting as number 1. Sessegnon at left back. I think it makes a lot of sense for him to be at left back. Obviously, we don't have a natural one, and it's going to happen, isn't it? I think Sessegnon will be playing at left back. I've gone with Sam Lavelle in the centre back department over Ryan Innes because I think Lavelle is a better option, to be honest with you. I think he's going to be a big player for us this season, and I think O'Connell is guaranteed to start as well. Right back, Sean Clare, again, makes a lot of sense. Obviously, Egbo is currently injured, so we don't really have another alternative, but I think Sean Clare, again, is going to have a big year. In terms of the midfield 3, I think in terms of the DM position, I'm going to go with George Dobson. I think he's got to start, simple as that. I think he's one of the first names, if not the first name on the team sheet. He's got to be in that starting 11, no questions asked, really. I've gone with Scott Fraser as the left-sided centre mid. I think he's played a few games in pre-season. I think naturally he will be played, but like I said, it is a big season for him and he needs to deliver. And then I've gone with Albie Morgan. Now, obviously, there are the likes of Forster-Caskey, Gilby. I don't think McGrandles and Payne are fit enough to start yet, so I think it's between those 3, Morgan, Gilby or JFC. But I've gone with Morgan because, again, I think he's played a lot in pre-season and I think he has impressed, so I think Garner will give him a chance. And obviously, in terms of the front 3, left wing Blackett-Taylor, I think he's going to be one of the more threatening players for us this season. He's going to have a big season. Stockley as the captain up front. Obviously, we haven't really got another option. Anike's injured, and I don't think we're going to throw Miles Leaburn into the deep end too soon. And in the right wing position, I have gone with Charlie Kirk over Jaisimi. I would like to see Kirk have a good year this season. I would like him to stay, first of all. I am excited heading into the season. I do think I'm a realist. At the moment, we do have a lot of work to do still in the transfer window, and I think we are a bit off it. We do need to strengthen more in the window. I think we are going to miss out on the top 6, but I am optimistic and I am hopeful that this team can come good this season, and the system that Garner wants to play can be executed well, and we can be a threat this season. But I'm going to be absolutely fuming if this completely flops. So that is it for this video, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy it. If you did, can you possibly leave a like, subscribe if you are new to the channel, and turn on those post notifications so you are notified of every time I upload a new video. What do you guys think about the season? Let me know in the comments below. What are your predictions for tomorrow's match against Accrington Stanley? Let me know. The match reaction for the Accrington game will be out on Sunday, hence why you're getting this video today, to compensate for that. So thanks again for watching this video, guys. Hope you guys did enjoy it. This has been Tyler Rollinson. Have a nice day, and I will see you all in the next video. Take it easy, stay safe, and I'll see you all then.